What's good, family? Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm bringing you guys a first thoughts, first initial impressions of AEW. WWE fan watches AEW for the first time. Whatever you want to call this video, I'm here to give you guys my initial first impressions of AEW. I watched AEW for the first time on Sunday. The pay-per-view that they had was Revolution. And I actually got inspired to watch AEW by a few YouTubers. One of them is named Deporticus. He is a YouTuber that is fairly new to wrestling as well. He started watching, I believe, 2023, and he's someone that shares his journey with wrestling. And recently, he started watching AEW for the first time. So that definitely inspired me, as well as another YouTuber or media reporter, I don't know what you want to call him, Adrian Hernandez. He made it a community post, and he basically posted the match card for AEW Revolution. And that's when I really saw it and went, all right, let me check this out. This match card looks pretty loaded. There's some names that I liked on there. There's some names that I've heard of. So I'm like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. So I watched it, and I gotta say, man, I liked what I saw. For the most part, there was a lot of stuff that I enjoyed, a lot of stuff that I took away from it. And in the same breath, there's stuff that I didn't like. There's stuff that I didn't really enjoy. But that's what I'm here to provide in this video. And I do want to let you know that, as you can see, this is a slideshow video, but there's no specific order with which these images are in. I'm not really talking about the image that's currently on screen. This is all off the top of my head. This is all off, what I think, what I feel, all that good stuff. So let's jump straight into it, man. AEW Revolution was a good pay-per-view. I couldn't have chose a better pay-per-view from the looks of it. A lot of you guys seem to enjoy it. A lot of AEW fans seem to enjoy it. You had lots of great matches from the kickoff match with MJF and Hangman Adam Page. You had Swerve Strickland versus Ricochet, which I thought was a good match. You had a phenomenal trilogy match, final match from the trilogy between Mariah May and Toni Storm. You had Momo Watanabe versus Mercedes Moné. Just a lot of great matches tonight. The one that stood out to me the most, in my honest opinion, has to be Mariah May versus Toni Storm. That match was phenomenal. Everything from the spots that they did to Mariah May sticking the broken bottle up Toni Storm's private parts, to the Hollywood ending table that Toni Storm slammed Mariah May through, to the Titantron at the very end saying the end. It's just a beautiful, phenomenal, picture perfect ending to a great feud that unfortunately I wasn't able to watch in the early parts, but I'm glad that I caught the end of it, because man, this seems to be one of those feuds that will be, no pun intended, timeless. A timeless feud that we could all watch years from now, that we can share with our kids years from now. Just a great match, man. Great match all around. We had Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, which was really cool to see them. As a WWE fan that grew up watching them, it was really cool to see them. The way that they're presented, the way that Tony Khan and AEW is presenting them is awesome to see. They are really made out to be stars and where they are now. And even their in-ring style was pretty cool to see. I know this was Shelton Benjamin's first pay-per-view match in like 4 years or something crazy like that. So yeah, I was very, very pleased to see the Hurt Business, or the Hurt Syndicate, I should say. That was cool to see. Another match that really stood out to me was the Steel Cage match with Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. Now, I've heard a lot about Will Ospreay. I think it's hard not to hear about Will Ospreay if you're into wrestling. And I've always heard that he's a polarizing figure, a polarizing wrestler, because Some people don't like the way he wrestles and with all the flips and the fast movement and whatnot, the fast pacing. Some people really enjoy it. Based off this match that I saw, I'm on the side of really enjoying it. I thought he had a phenomenal match with Kyle Fletcher. Now, the one thing that I will say, and this is the first negative thing that I have to say about AEW, and I'm not sure if this is just, how AEW is as a brand. I'm not sure if this is how they approach every single match that they do, but man, the amount of kickouts in this match was kind of just a tad bit egregious. And I've kind of briefly mentioned this in my Raw review video with the steel cage match that CM Punk and Seth Rollins had. I was like, man, it kind of feels like they're doing an impression of Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. Now, I'm not going to, say that. I'm not going to compare the two and say one's better than the other. Clearly, I think this one, Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher had the better match here. But yeah, that's one thing that immediately stood out to me about the product that is AEW, and especially in that match. I can't say that I felt that with other matches, but with that match, it just felt like there was way too many kickouts. Kind of took me out of the action because it was hard to believe that somebody would kick out of a Styles Clash on top of thumbtacks. But they made up for it with the Spanish Fly on top of the steel cage, so I guess that's not the worst finish, you know what I mean? So if there's any way you could have undone that original finish with the thumbtacks, I guess the Spanish Fly would be a good finish, so can't really harp on that too much. Yeah, and then the other thing that really caught my attention, the other negative thing, we'll get to that. Moving on, we had what's his name? Kenny Omega versus, I forget the guy's name, not sure what his name, but I thought they had a good match. I love the in-ring psychology of Kenny Omega and how he sells his body parts, and how not only does he sell his body parts, but he sells it to the extent of him struggling to hit his finisher. There was points where Kenny Omega would try to pick up his opponent, but his back would give out. I thought that was very cool. And yeah, it was a good match, good finish. You have a new champion, Kenny Omega, the is it international champion, I believe? Yes, that is what it is. Yeah, I like Kenny Omega too, man. Kenny Omega is a great wrestler. He really captivated me in that match. I liked what I saw from him, and I love to see more from him in the future. Which is going to lead me to the main event of the night, which was Cope versus Jon Moxley. Now, this match, it was not that good, to be honest, if I'm being honest. And it's not anything that these two did specifically. It's more so just that these two are very methodical wrestlers in terms of their pacing and in terms of just their overall moveset. So it was very slow. It kind of dragged at some points. And I think, that could be due to Cope's age. But nevertheless, it wasn't a terrible match. I'm not going to act like it was the worst match I ever saw. There were still some good moments. I did like the in-ring psychology of Jon Moxley trying to break Cope's neck. Cope has some nice moves too. He jumped off the top rope outside. Yeah, I mean, this match wasn't bad. The ending, however, was where I was really confused. Now, the ending had Christian Cage come out, and he signed like this contract, and he was cashing it in, and he was about to cash it in. And at that moment, I was like, all right, here we go. Like, this is good. I can get behind this. This is awesome, actually. I would love to see what's about to happen. Cashes in, bell rings. Christian Cage goes for the spear, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm just making things up in my head. But he was very damn close to beating Edge. That's what I will say. Jon Moxley would very quickly capitalize off of Christian's mishaps and puts him in a crossface. Christian almost pins Edge by putting his arm on top of him while Edge was laid out. Excuse me, Cope. I got to get used to calling Edge Cope. And I thought that would have been a really cool way to have the match finish. I thought, that's something that I could get behind if that's what the finish was going to be. It was going to be a unique finish, something that I never saw before. But that's not what the finish was. Jon Moxley, I think he would end up making Christian pass out, right? Or tap out. Did he make him tap out or pass out? Either way, Jon Moxley would retain and Christian would fail on his cash-in, which I'm not going to lie. Initially, I was like, damn, this is kind of a fumble. I don't know what kind of booking decision this is. Tony Khan, what are you doing? I'm scratching my head here. But I will admit, they kind of reeled me back in with the ending of the show with Jon Moxley walking out through the crowd. Then you had Prince Nana come out, kind of staring him down. And then you look up, you see Swerve at the top of the railing, jumps off, lands on Jon Moxley, and that's how the show ends. Yeah, I mean, other than how weird that match finish was and how questionable that booking decision may have been, and maybe that main event wasn't the best place to have that match. Maybe you could have slotted that match into the beginning of the show. Maybe you could have had Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher close out the show. Maybe you could have had Mariah May and even Toni Storm main event the show. But, I mean, this match left a lot to be desired. However, the match ending was pretty unique and something I've never saw before. But, that didn't end up being the actual finish. Christian Cage would lose at his cash-in. Jon Moxley retained. And yeah, Swerve came out, sent a message, made a statement. So yeah, I love the ending. I love what they're planning to do with Swerve and Jon Moxley. And yeah, I can't comment too much on the feuds and the storylines, and I feel like I can't even really comment too much about the actual wrestler themselves because I've only watched one pay-per-view. And I've only seen a handful of matches, so it wouldn't be fair for me to really make assumptions or make conclusions or, try to predict this and the third. So I'm going to just try to leave this very simple, trying to make this very, unbiased as possible. But yeah, I'll leave it at that, man. I really did enjoy the show. Again, there was some stuff that I liked. As far as what I liked the vulgarness and the profanity. I thought that was cool. It shows that this is an edgier product. And I've always known that, but seeing it and actually tuning into it and actually watching it in real time is different. And it's definitely something that I can get behind as a viewer. I also liked I wouldn't say I liked, but I was kind of indifferent about the use of blood. Now, of course, I thought it fit perfectly for the match with Mariah May and Toni Storm. I thought the blood fit there. And I thought the blood kind of fit, not kind of, it definitely did fit the match with Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. Yeah, the reason why I say I'm indifferent is because I don't know if that's something that they're going to... What am I saying? I know that they're going to do that going forward, but I don't know how often they use blood in these matches. Now, if they use it periodically throughout the night like they did in Revolution, then I can get behind that. I can enjoy that. I would love that. But if they're going to abuse it and have it in every single match, then that's not something that I would really want to see. Not because, I'm a bitch or a pussy, I don't want to see blood, or, oh, blood is too much. It's just that I've really grown accustomed to the idea that if a story calls for it, then have it. But if it doesn't call for it and you're just doing it just for the sake of shock, then, you're kind of wasting it. So that's my thoughts on that. And I think that'll be a good way to wrap up this video. I think I basically told you guys what I loved, what I didn't like, gave you guys a broad perspective of what I thought about the show. Overall, man, I did like the show. I do think this is something that I can come back and commit to watching week by week. And yeah, I think I would even call myself an AEW fan now, which is pretty surprising because I didn't think I would ever start watching AEW. I thought I would only watch WWE for the rest of my life because that's all I knew, that's all I ever loved, and that's all I ever was shown as a kid growing up and all that good stuff. But, I'm glad I've come around. I'm glad I'm tuning in and watching it, and I'm glad I'm able to see other companies and how they go about showing their product off to the world. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about this pay-per-view, what you guys think about my thoughts. If you want to provide me with any extra details or any facts that I didn't know, or maybe you want to sway me in a certain perspective that I may have given you, or maybe you want to sway me in a certain opinion that I gave you. You want to sway me in a different direction, whatever the case may be, all that good stuff, leave it down below. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. Peace, love, positivity. Love you guys. Take care of yourself. Peace.